Doctors and nurses of Reddit who had delivered babies to mothers who clearly cheated on their husbands. What was that like? Newborn had chlamydia. Got it from the mom, obviously. So the mom admits she was cheating on the dad, because there's no other way to explain that one. Except the dad was cheating too, with the other guy's girlfriend, and all four of them had chlamydia, with no idea who had it first. They also had no idea who the actual dad was. That was a rodeo. Just envisioning four Spider-Men pointing at each other. When my baby was born, people asked me if her father was Polynesian. Nope. He's a skinny white man. There was no doubt he was the father. She was born with thick black hair. She was a big baby, 4 kilograms, and had jaundice which made her look very tan. The hair fell out, the jaundice went away, she thinned out, and I now have a strawberry blonde haired 2-year-old that looks exactly like her papa. But man, if I hadn't known he was the only man I'd slept with, I would have some serious doubts. Thanks for this. Now I have the mental image of a baby popping out, the mother looking at the baby and audibly going, wait a minute, I don't remember cheating. Sena sneaky dick strikes again. Had a patient who came into ER for UTI with her boyfriend of 4 months. His words. She was 19. Acting extremely dramatic for just having UTI. We tell her we need urine. She urges us to cath her, which is really unusual, but she says she can't pee, so me and other nurse assume the position to put in a catheter with her lying on the gurney. At this point nurse screams, call L&D. She's crowning. L&D nurse gets in just in time to grab the child as it shoots out into her hands and is a living breathing baby. The girl swears she had no idea she was pregnant. They wheel her off to postpartum and the guy is just kind of left standing there, dumbstruck. We only been dating 4 months. I had no idea she was pregnant. She never mentioned it at all. As he just buried his head in his knees while he was sitting on the floor against the hallway wall. I felt so bad for the guy. Maybe I'm wrong, but wouldn't a pregnant person have at least some physical indication that they are pregnant? Like, I know there's the fear of asking if someone is pregnant and they aren't, but like, if you're dating, wouldn't that be fairly evident over time? Edit. Just want to thank everyone that has responded. I now understand that it is not uncommon for women to not show typical pregnancy signs during a pregnancy. I have learned more than I expected today. If you ever see the show I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant, it's more common than you'd think. Some ladies just plain won't show at all, and others may just look a bit plumper, but not obviously pregnant. Anesthesiologist here. C-sections are typically done under spinal anesthesia, and we're the ones at the head of the table keeping the mother calm and talking her through the procedure while the surgeons operate. I've seen it more than once, but I remember one in particular when the parents were both very Caucasian and the baby was very much not. The actual father obviously had to be very dark-skinned. At delivery, when the not father saw the baby, he just looked down at his wife, who was starting to cry, and calmly said, "You freaking whore," and walked out. She started screaming for him to come back, but there wasn't much she could do since she was, you know, still being operated on. She lost it to the point I eventually had to sedate her just a bit, because she was in danger of injuring herself. As far as I know, her husband never came back to the hospital. I don't know what happened after that. She's a high stakes gambler, 50 over 50. I come out of this scot-free. The kind of woman to walk up to a roulette wheel and put it all on black. Well, I think you got it wrong. They all bet on white. Black came, lost everything. My brother had a surprise baby this way. He and a coworker had a one-night stand while she was broken up with her ex. She gets back with her ex, ends up pregnant. Flash forward to the delivery day. The day my brother sends me a picture of a random baby out of the blue and says, "I think I'm a dad." She is white. Her boyfriend is black. My brother is white. Baby came out looking very white. I don't know how it went down in the hospital room, but I know they separated very soon after. My brother went to visit her in the hospital and asked her if she would let him take a paternity test. She agreed and it came back positive a week later. And that's how I got my surprise nephew. Edit to answer questions and clarify some things. Everyone is fine. My brother took full responsibility from day one. They ended up dating, having another child together, and are now separated with full split custody. No courts involved. I know how genetics work. I have a mixed sister and mixed children. My kids are Mexican/Puerto Rican and 11 kinds of European. They came out very brown and are now pasty white like me. One has brown eyes and one has green eyes. I do understand everyone's experience may vary. When I say very white I mean it. He was practically translucent. The baby looked just like my brother's baby photos and nothing at all like the boyfriend. We just kinda knew, but still a test was the only way to know. Everyone in our family was surprised of course, but we all embraced the situation with love and understanding. Not exactly the situation you're asking for, but Reddit loves a good crazy mother-in-law story. My dad is blonde and my mom is brunette. I came out of the womb with fiery red hair. My dad's mom made a huge fuss about my mom cheating on my dad and had to be escorted out of the hospital. My grandmother's own mother had flaming red hair, which she apparently forgot until my great-grandmother held me for the first time and said, "I always wanted a baby with my red hair." Edit. Holy. I woke up to a lot of notifications. To clarify, I was very tired last night and did not phrase this well. My dad's mom accused my mom of cheating, forgetting that my dad's grandmother had red hair. She was in her 80s. Late in life babies are actually common in my dad's family and spent her entire life in rural Alabama and Mississippi, so she wasn't exactly a biologist or geneticist. Additionally, she was extremely mentally ill and these delusional temper tantrums were not uncommon. Mother to be warned, this could go one of two ways prior to delivery. Wasn't sure what she meant. She was white, as was her husband. Delivered baby was black. Then it all made sense. Edit. Number 1. This happened about 4 years ago. Sorry to be anticlimactic, but I don't know where they are today or how the situation turned out. I can tell you that the dad left the room immediately and the mom burst into tears. So this leads me to believe he might have had a suspicion. Otherwise there might have been a little more shock. I honestly don't know. Number 2. Yes, I did mean to say mixed and not black. Number 3. I never said I was a doctor. Number 4. Yes, I did just join Reddit 5 days ago. Does that make my story less interesting? Haha, sorry for being new. So one of my very white friend's girlfriends was pregnant, and when the baby was born it was very purple looking. Buddy flipped out, went on Facebook announcing she was a cheating hoe, and had another man's baby. Few days later the baby was very white and the DNA test showed it was his. He just deleted his whole damn Facebook instead of owning up to it. Did he think she cheated on him with Barney the dinosaur? Super awkward for everyone involved. The husband was only in the room for a bit then left and didn't see him again. The FOB, father of baby, showed up after the baby was born. I've also had where they didn't know whose baby it was, so both guys were present to see whose they thought it was. Two of my cousins and one of our friends had that situation. The girl was upfront with all of them when she found out she was pregnant. She wasn't dating any of them, just being a free spirit. So, there they were, 3 dudes sitting in a waiting room waiting to find out whose life would change forever. Baby came out a spitting image of one of my cousins. To this day I'm amazed how well it all worked out, no drama. Kid has 2 loving parents, even though they've never formally been together. Hold on, that's the plot of Mamma Mia. Here we go again. I have a white friend who is a superman of a dad. When his 3rd child was born, she was obviously of mixed race. His white wife had an affair with a black man. The wife also had substance abuse issues before this pregnancy and was no longer dependable or stable as a mother. So my friend immediately divorced her and took custody of the kids. All of them. He's been raising his 2 biological kids and the 3rd child who isn't technically his for the past decade. She's his princess and he loves her exactly like the other 2. Edited to answer a couple of questions. He is a straight man who has not remarried. He's done this all on his own, dated here and there, but nothing serious yet. He's too busy with 3 kids, full-time career, and a small business to run. Also, biological dad to the 3rd child, waived his rights immediately when he found out about her birth. He was mom's dealer and their fling was a one-time thing that resulted in pregnancy. he had zero interest in fatherhood. Edited again to add, some people say how they could never raise another man's child, especially one that was a product of adultery, but you have to consider that my friend went through the entire pregnancy preparing for this baby that he thought was his. So he bought the baby gear, painted a nursery, went to the doctor appointments, etc. He was heavily invested in this baby before she was ever born. He already loved her and felt she was his, so it wasn't a big leap for him to take her on as his own. Not a doctor, but my best friend's brother-in-law has 2 black parents and came out completely white. DNA test confirmed they were both his parents. It just be like that sometimes. Edit, I'm only guessing they tested the mother as well to rule out any possibility of an accidental swap at the hospital. Laughing my ass off, y'all savage. Where along the line did you start doubting that the mother was related? I'm a ginger and my wife is Hispanic, but our son is blonde with blue eyes. I was there when he was born, but I still doubt that she is his mother sometimes. Had 2 women give birth a few days apart on my floor. Turns out they actually had the same baby daddy. The father of the 2 newborns got both patients pregnant around the same time. It was an interesting day for the social worker. Oh man. A friend of friend got 2 women pregnant several months apart. One of the women had complications during the pregnancy and the baby was born very early. On the exact same day the other woman also went into labor. Father has 2 babies, same date of birth, different mothers. The women knew about one another. One ended up being insane and unfit and bolted. So the other woman is raising both kids. Not a doctor or nurse, but in undergrad, I had a buddy, Caucasian, who'd been dating the same girl, also Caucasian, for a while. She gets knocked up, he proposes. Fast forward a few months and both families are eagerly waiting at the hospital to meet the baby. The baby comes out black. Everyone is in shock. Girl is frantically trying to convince everyone that there's been a misunderstanding. My buddy called off the engagement immediately, returned the ring, and never looked back. Misunderstanding? How could there be any kind of misunderstanding? I had a friend in high school who was black and Filipino, but looked more black than Filipino, including skin tone. Issue is his mother is Filipino and his father is white. He popped out, and the story goes she said the exact same thing, swears up and down it's his. Paternity test comes out and he was, in fact, his. They did research and tests and his great-great-grandfather on the Filipino side was black. Makes for interesting family pictures with them. Yeah, genetics are freakier than people expect. I had a friend in high school who was half black, except he didn't look black at all. He was like blonde straight hair, green eyes, pale with freckles. When he was born his dad got really angry, accused his mom of cheating, but they did a paternity test and he was the father. Turns out he, the father, was actually mixed race, but didn't know it, and just the way everything got passed down, he ended up with an aggressively white passing kid. They also had a daughter friend's little sister. She definitely looked mixed. People were always surprised to learn they full blood siblings. I'm of Irish descent. Extremely pale, freckled, wavy dark hair and darker green eyes. My husband is half Native American, half German. Dark hair and slightly wavy as well. My daughter came out with light brown curly hair and ever so slight strawberry blonde pieces mixed throughout, curls for days. And the nurse goes, wow, where did you get that hair? Knowing I had similar color as a baby and my mother has kinky curly hair. My husband, in a room full of nurses, goes, I don't know, jaded. Where did she get that hair? I could have freaking killed him. Edit. Please no one tell my husband how much traction this story got. It'll just make him cocky and the jokes will get worse. I already have a rough time finding him hats. Not a doctor, but someone in my extended family had a baby, 2 Middle Eastern parents that turned out to be dark-skinned. The father of the baby filed for divorce, even though the mother kept saying the baby was his. A few years later, they found out that the mother's great-grandmother was African and that the baby obtained strong genes from her. They didn't get back together because too much had gone down at that point, but the mother was right all along. Too long. Didn't read. 2 Middle Easterns had dark-skinned baby. Husband divorced, but later it was found out that it was genetics. To think this would have been solved with a paternity test. In high school my gym teacher was married to the biology teacher, who was also really good friends with my math teacher. Always saw them chatting and walking together. Well, the biology teacher got pregnant, and when she brought the baby and there was a non-ignorable resemblance to the math teacher, her husband ended up driving to the nearest hospital and shooting himself dead in the parking lot. Was a big scandal at our relatively small private school. One of a few actually. Holy frick, that escalated quickly. Did not see that coming. If you enjoyed watching this video, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button. I will be uploading every day. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.